Subway cancellations, bus diversions, the never-ending construction. Of course, we're talking about the Eglinton Crosstown. There's a lot of things happening for Toronto transit users. Joining us to talk about just some of these is Shelagh Pizey-Allen, spokesperson for the advocacy group TTCRiders. Shelagh, where to begin? That's the question of the hour. No, let's begin in the East End. With the Scarborough RT, there is so much going on there. What are you hearing when it comes to what is needed for the Scarborough community and where we are right now?
Yeah, well, first thing we need is that Scarborough replacement busway to be built. And the good news is that Mayor Olivia Chow funded the busway project in her budget this year. We want to get that going as soon as possible because it's going to shave off 10 minutes off people's commute in each direction. The other thing on my mind is that yesterday the TTC board requested the Auditor General investigate the root causes of the derailment, and our organization has also asked the Auditor General to look into this. You know, the RT should never have derailed. We want to make sure something like that never happens again on the TTC. And when they got consultants to look into it, those reports were not only, buried on a website, but they had some pretty damning information. A defect was identified 2 weeks prior at the derailment site. Preventative maintenance had been reduced, so we're glad that that's getting looked into now.
But seeing those reports, indeed, it gets a lot of transit riders on edge. Because if that could happen in one part of the system, who's to say that these inspections or whatnot are not happening across the rest of the system, right?
Exactly, and in early March, a cracked switch rail was discovered on Line 1. Early this winter, there was an unprecedented number of reduced speed zones across the subway, so it's raised a lot of questions for us, not just about what happened with the RT, but what does it say for maintenance across the system? The public needs answers to restore trust in TTC. So we're happy the Auditor General is being asked to look into it, but what does it say that the TTC board unanimously voted for this? And, where's their trust in the TTC management to be, really to be honest about what's going on?
Indeed, some big questions here. I want to get your take as well. The TTC hosting basically a public forum, looking for public input when it comes to accessibility. That has been at the forefront of a number of conversations when it comes to, is the transit system accessible? What have you seen over the years? You've been with this advocacy group for some time.
Yeah, transit is supposed to be fully accessible by 2025, but the TTC is going to miss that deadline under the AOD, Accessibility for Ontarians with Disabilities Act. And not every subway station is going to be fully accessible. It's very disappointing, and especially because the TTC is also planning changes to Wheel-Trans service, asking people to re-register for the service. People have a lot of fear that if that program becomes mandatory, they will lose their full access to door-to-door rides. So those consults on April 16th and 18th are so important for Wheel-Trans users to come out and share their voice.
What if someone doesn't come out and share their voice and they don't explain just how important these services are and they get taken away from them? How does this all rejig? How does this all work?
Yeah, what we're hearing from Wheel-Trans users is just an incredible sense of fear at being isolated, at losing access to health appointments. Mm-hmm. People rely on Wheel-Trans for life-saving health services, but also to do everything in their lives, get groceries, go to work, visit with friends. So it's such an important service, and the message that Wheel-Trans users will be sending is that we do not want the TTC to make the family of services mandatory. Wheel-Trans users need choice and they need safety.
Let's talk about some money. The One Fare program has been rolled out. It has been implemented. What are you seeing when it comes to some of the positives and perhaps maybe some improvements?
People are so excited about the One Fare program. It's been talked about for years. Where we think it could go further is to bring in one flat fare all across Toronto. So you can transfer between GO, TTC, and Union Pearson Express all for one fare. And what also has been left out is that this isn't going to help you if you buy a monthly pass, right? It's just those single rides. But that leaves some room for the TTC to bring in fare capping. So once you pay a certain number of times, you ride free for the rest of the month. So we're hoping that they will look into that.
One thing we're also looking ahead to, there's a looming TTC strike potentially with electrical workers and trade workers. Without getting into the nitty-gritty, because I know you're not necessarily part of those conversations, but how could this, if it does impact service, if it slows down service or it is minimized in any way, for a City of Toronto and the GTA, how big of an issue would this be?
Hundreds of thousands of people rely on the TTC every day, and it's really important to not just transit users, but everyone in our city. So we're really hopeful that a deal will be reached and to avert that.
Yeah, we are all very, very hopeful. Shelagh, always appreciate your time. Thank you so much.
Thanks for having me.